That Donald Trump verbal diarrhea on childcare revealed a dirty little secret. Chris Graham here for Augusta Free Press. So you might have wondered to yourself, why was Donald Trump rambling about Marco Rubio, Ivanka Trump, and tariffs in response to a question on what he would do to solve the childcare crisis? Now, the easy answer is he's senile. But then seriously, there was more than senility at play here in the back and forth on childcare at a forum hosted on Thursday by the Economic Club of New York. The part of the meandering answer referencing Senator Rubio and Ivanka Trump harkens back to a family leave proposal that the two of those people advanced, Rubio and Ivanka, during the first Trump administration, that critics at the time suggested was part of a Trump and GOP-led effort to phase out Social Security. This is according to Los Angeles Times columnist Michael Hiltzik, who deciphered Trump's meandering mention of Rubio and Ivanka in his answer to the question from Reshma Sanjani, a Democratic children's advocate at the forum, as a callback to their 2018 proposal for paid family leave. Now, that Rubio-Ivanka proposal, as it was laid out back in 2018, would have allowed families to raid their future Social Security benefits to be able to qualify for 12 weeks of family leave. As Hiltzik pointed out, the Urban Institute calculated that for every 12-week leave, new parents would have to delay their Social Security benefits by more than twice that period, as much as 6 months. And the Institute projected that parents who took 4 12-week leaves would lose 10% of their retirement benefits for life. In 2024 dollars, that would be a $200 per month hit on future Social Security benefits. All of this to fund a parental leave program that the think tank calculated would cost on the high end about $15 billion a year. A trickle compared to the $150 billion a year that Trump and the GOP gave in tax cuts to millionaires and billionaires back in 2017. Now, the worst aspect of the plan, per Hiltzik, was that it fostered the impression of Social Security as a piggy bank to be drawn down for any conceivable financial hardship, to buy a house, repay student loans, and so on. It's not. Once the first of these plans is enacted, Hiltzik wrote, you can be sure that others will follow until there's almost nothing left of Social Security's guarantee of a living income in retirement. Now, I would argue that the even worser than worst part of what Trump unwittingly revealed here is that Rubio and Ivanka and their plan was for paid parental leave to tide families over for only the first 2 or 3 months of parenthood, meaning it had nothing to do with what the question was asked, which was how to help families with the cost of childcare that extend into a child's adolescence. Yeah, they don't just stop needing childcare. Parents don't after 12 weeks. Neither did anything else from Trump's verbal diarrhea in his response. I want to try to read this actual um, answer from Trump and see if I can do it without laughing too much. Now, the question from Reshma Sanjani was, if you win in November, can you commit to prioritizing legislation to make childcare affordable? And if so, what specific piece of legislation will you advance? This was what Trump answered. Again, I'm going to try to read this as best I can. Well, I would do that. And we're sitting down, I was somebody, we had Senator Marco Rubio and my daughter Ivanka was so impactful on that issue. It's a very important issue. But I think when you talk about the kind of numbers that I'm talking about, that because childcare is childcare couldn't, there's something you have to have it in this country, you have to have it. Those are words put together in an order that have never been conceived in human history. Let's get back to the quotes here. When you talk about those numbers compared to the kind of numbers that I'm talking about by taxing foreign nations at levels that they're not used to, but they'll get used to it very quickly. And it's not going to stop them from doing business with us, but they'll have a very substantial tax when they send product into our country. That's the tariffs he's talking about. Tariffs aren't taxes on other countries; they're taxes on us. A tariff goes on top of the price of an item, and then that price of the item is paid for by us. So we actually end up paying more. The other country doesn't. Those numbers are so much bigger than any numbers that we're talking about, including childcare, that it's going to take care. We're going to have, I look forward to having no deficits within a fairly short period of time, coupled with the reductions, I had to laugh there, coupled with the reductions that I told you about on waste and fraud and all the other things that are going on in our country. Because I have to stay with childcare. I want to stay with childcare, but those numbers are small relative to the kind of economic numbers I'm talking about, including growth, but growth also headed up by what the plan is that I just told you all about. Okay, he continued though. I'm amazed that he continued. We're going to be taking in trillions of dollars We're going to be charging ourselves trillions of dollars. And as much as childcare is talked about as being expensive, it's relatively speaking not very expensive compared to the kind of numbers we'll be taking in. We're going to make this into an incredible country that can afford to take care of its people, and then we'll worry about the rest of the world. Let's help other people, but we're going to take care of our country first. This is about America first. It's about make America great again. We have to do it because right now we're a failing nation, so take care of it. Um, the question again was, can you commit to prioritizing legislation to make childcare affordable? And if so, what specific piece of legislation will you advance? I know there are going to be people commenting on the comment thread of this video saying Trump did this interview with these people. He answered the questions. He has concrete policy proposals. He didn't offer a concrete piece of anything there. He didn't even offer a piece of gravel in response to this question, much less a tire concrete. Um, he put words out in response to something. That's not an answer. It's not a question and answer. It's not an interview. It's not a policy proposal. It's nothing. Say what you will. This guy is senile, and he's also talking about taking away Social Security. That might not mean anything to you now. Some of you it will. It will eventually down the road. If you have any questions for me, any comments, please feel free to email me at chris@augustafreepress.com.